Hi, I'm Dr. Bruce Chalmer. Thanks for stopping by my video today. Why is a psychologist talking about faith? I work with people in a secular context. I'm not a faith-based practitioner as the term is often used. I don't offer a fundamentalist perspective or insist on any particular religion or philosophy. But I've realized something over my years of practice. Faith is what heals people. If you're a practitioner and you don't embody faith as part of your practice, you might reduce symptoms, but you won't help people heal from their suffering. Healing requires faith. So what is faith as I'm talking about it? Let's start with what it is not. First of all, faith is not the same as religion or belief, including belief in God. That's not to say that religious belief is irrelevant. It's just that faith isn't something you think or believe. Faith shapes how you think and feel and act. So, what is faith then? And if it's so important, how do you get it if you haven't got it? Faith is when you accept that reality is right. Let me say that again. Faith is when you accept that reality is right. You see what I mean? There's no proving that or disproving it. It's not a scientific question. It's not what you think reality is that determines whether you have faith. What you believe reality is had better be open to question and revision based on new information. What you believe reality is, what you think the facts are, is not a matter of faith. It's a matter of science, or should be. If you refuse to allow yourself to take in new information because it challenges your existing beliefs, you're not showing faith. You're just being closed-minded or superstitious. Closing your mind, shutting down your intelligence, isn't faith. No, faith is about accepting that reality, whatever it is right. Not correct or accurate, just fundamentally right as opposed to wrong. It's a statement of value, not of fact. It's not about what reality is. It's about what reality means. Wait a minute. How can I say reality is right when there's obviously so much that is wrong with the world? How can reality be right in a world so filled with evil and suffering? That question has been vexing people of faith since anyone was self-aware enough to ask it. And when you're suffering, there's no good answer. There's no logical or philosophical proof that reality is right, though a lot of philosophers have twisted themselves in knots trying to prove or disprove it. And trying to prove it to someone in pain is useless at best and cruel at worst. There's no proving it. But faith says that in spite of all the suffering in the world, reality is right. And it's faith that offers healing from suffering. Because when you accept that reality is right, you stop fighting with reality and start working with it to make it better. You stop wasting energy on regretting what you are and start directing your energy toward being who you want to be. When you accept that reality is right, you realize you're part of that reality, so you don't need to prove your worth anymore. You can work on doing the best you can. You can get on with it. You can stop arguing with evil and set about to transform it to good whenever you can. You see how different that is from dreary resignation? When you accept that reality is right, that doesn't mean you give up on changing it. It means you're part of it, so you can work to make it better. You can stand up for what you believe is right, even as you respect and learn from people who disagree with you, because you realize that they know things you don't, and vice versa. When you experience faith, you can let go of the delusion that certainty is possible. You accept that you don't know everything, and neither does anyone else. You can tolerate complexity and inconsistency because you know that human understanding is limited and there's a lot we haven't figured out yet. So you don't have to be a jerk about it. That, by the way, is why faith and fundamentalism are actually opposites. If you think you or any one person or set of beliefs have a monopoly on truth, which is what I mean by fundamentalism, you're not accepting reality, you're deluding yourself. You can tell when people are afflicted with that kind of fundamentalism because they have no sense of humor about it. That applies every bit as much to atheists railing against religion in general as it does to religious fanatics railing against people who have the wrong beliefs. To have a sense of humor about your own beliefs is to recognize that you haven't got it all neatly tied up. In other words, to recognize that you're human. That's accepting that reality is right. That it's even delightful at times with all the contradictions and paradoxes and absurdities. Faith is what lets people cope with the ups and downs of everyday life and recover from the pain and trauma of major setbacks. Faith is what lets people who've been through horrendous losses say, later on, that they're grateful for their lives. Faith is what lets people feel connected even when they're alone, blessed even when they're challenged, and alive even in the knowledge of death. Faith, in other words, is what heals people. So, how do you find faith if you don't already have it? As I said before, it's not something I can talk you into or prove. Faith isn't what you believe, it's how you believe. It's not a knowledge, it's a skill. And that's the key. You're not going to talk yourself into faith any more than you can talk yourself into playing the piano. You get faith by practicing it. You develop faith. You work into it. It's not something you just sign up for. And just like any other skill, you start by finding teachers. You observe faith in action. You get close to it and learn its ways and absorb what it does and how it does it. Where do you find teachers? They're all over the place. You already know people who accept that reality is right. Pay attention. You can tell because when you're with them, you sense acceptance, respect, humility, reverence, wonder, appreciation, gratitude. These are attitudes of faith. The more you experience them, the more you open your heart and mind to them, the more you acquire those attitudes yourself. Mentors, friends, bartenders, AA sponsors, parents, newborn babies, dogs, all can teach you faith. Therapists can offer the experience of faith and can even talk about it if they're not too freaked out about the concept themselves. Religious institutions can offer the experience of faith if they're not too stuck on their own righteousness. Your own traditions can offer the experience of faith in a language you speak, whether you know it or not. And if you think you don't have traditions, look harder. Of course you do. Even if your associations with your traditions are mostly painful, you still have them, and they speak to you. Learn to listen. Faith is when you accept that reality is right. Open your eyes and your ears and your heart, and you'll find that you already knew that. Now go and practice. I'm Dr. Bruce Chalmer. Thanks for visiting.